the family channel is growing. Facebook's supplementing a lot of that. And our YouTube channel it's actually thriving. Like there was times in last year where we would publish videos on the same day on the family channel and the main channel, 7 million subscribers versus 1.5 million at the time. And over 48 hours, we'd get more views on the family channel than the main channel.
Disruption. You're always going to have to figure out what is happening differently so I can stay relevant. How have you done that in the past?
Man, it's interesting. Like I'm a 41-year-old that has over 2 million followers on TikTok. And over the years, we've evolved to where a lot of Lincoln is not in a lot of the videos. And our family channel, we published a lot. We published 11 times this month on the family. In April is the most we published in the last probably 7 months on that channel. And so, Lincoln, I think, maybe is in one of the videos. And so I've kind of taken
what a
it upon
change.
myself. Yeah, and a lot of it is Tesla related content. Our audience likes Tesla.
How many Teslas have you sold so far? Because I know that you were like an affiliate, correct?
They did have everybody has a link that's an owner, and we sold somewhere around 500 Teslas in just a short amount of time.
So what does that equal to in revenue? Not to you, but to Tesla.
I want to say it's 20. It was, if I remember right, this is probably wrong. I thought it was around $25 million,
That's amazing.
$25 million in Teslas that are sold just off of using our link and the code of being there. And it's so interesting. We had this little boy come over this last week or 2 weeks ago. He's 5 years old. He had cancer at 18 months old. And he just in October just finished his last treatment. And he had this before COVID hit. So he's from Las Vegas. And so they started wearing masks. They started staying home. It's just, he's the only child. And then COVID hit. His mom and dad were telling us, we've left the house, other than going to the hospital, we've left the house 3 times. Twice each year on Valentine's Day, we'll go on a date without him. And then one other thing they've gone to. Well, he wanted his Make-A-Wish was to come to our house and to come to our studio to ride in our Teslas.
Oh, wow.
And to meet the What's Inside family. And his family is pretty funny. They're pretty transparent, but they're like, we asked him, we're like, don't you want to meet like Elon Musk? And he's like, nope, got to meet Dan the man. It is so funny. He comes into our house. He knows everything about, he just walked in like he knew the place. He's like, hey, Leslie. And just like went to my wife and just like walks past. But he goes over to our Tesla. We have an old school Roadster. And he's like, oh, this is how you open it. And he knows that the handle is on the top, this little part, because he's seen the video where I show door handles. He opens it up and he's like, oh, this is for this. This is for that. Oh, this is where you didn't get Lincoln's car fixed yet from his car crashed. And so it's really interesting to see the impact. I never would have thought that I'd be like a Tesla or electric car influencer, but that was kind of I adapted in a way. Like I was passionate about the car and we got it. We made some videos. They did very well. And we just showed our love and the thing that we have for it. And some of the best shorts that I've had this month, like I've got a Tesla tequila bottle right here behind me. I don't drink tequila, but I emptied it out.
It's a cool bottle.
All the tequila. It's so cool. I emptied out all of the tequila and then filled it up with chocolate milk for a YouTube short. And it got like 7 million views on TikTok and are all over the place. So anyway, it's kind of interesting to see how you evolve based off of like what you're passionate about, what you like, and what's the best for my family. Lincoln doesn't say he doesn't want to be in videos, but he's 16 years old. He wants to be a golfer, and I want him. As a father, I don't want to be like, man, I ruined this kid's childhood because I wanted to get another like $40,000 brand deal. I needed to have him in these videos. We need to publish this many videos a month. And so I've had to adapt to like make videos myself and go do interesting things and find other YouTube friends that we can collaborate with and do stuff on. So it's definitely like an evolution. You may not know this, but on our main channel with 7 million subscribers, I haven't published a video in there this entire calendar year, like since before January, only on the family channel. And that it's almost 2 million subscribers.
Why is that? I mean, is it because the family channel monetizes better, or is it just something that you are more excited about right now?
It kind of goes to like, we built the family channel as like a separate thing that we could maybe not have Lincoln in sometimes if you didn't want to be in it. But it's turned into something where we can publish a video about whatever we want and enjoy it. It fits into our daily life. If we're traveling somewhere, tomorrow I'm going to Texas to see the Ford F-150 Lightning, the new electric truck. I'm going to drive that thing. I'll make a review on that. So it's really flexible in what we can publish on there. And the main channel, cutting stuff open is great. We loved it. We love seeing what's inside of things. But it also became a little more difficult, I felt like, to be as authentic over time of like which things we're cutting open. And it was really tricky to work brands into it. So from a business perspective, I don't think we didn't get all the numbers, but I didn't feel like the engagement and like the actual click-through rate was probably as good for brands when we're cutting something open and then all of a sudden it's like sponsor is this and it's something totally different. And some brands didn't want to be involved with us destroying something.
Cutting something in half.
Yeah. So anyway, we just started making the family channel is growing, Facebook supplementing a lot of that. And our YouTube channel it's actually thriving. Like there was times in last year where we would publish videos on the same day on the family channel and the main channel, 7 million subscribers versus 1.5 million at the time. And over 48 hours, we'd get more views on the family channel than the main channel. So
do you ever see yourself maybe hiring talent to create new series on the What's Inside channel?
I would love to. I mean, Grant Thompson from the King of Random, I remember, he passed away a couple of years ago, but
such a good guy, wasn't he?
He was a good guy, super smart. And we went to dinner a few times and he was telling me how he was burnt out and he was tired and it would take him 60 hours to make a video on his channel. And then I feel like I helped him a bit in the way of like actually changing his content to be easier to make content, which freed him up. And then he realized I could create a system in here. He hired some new hosts. He got some pushback, but he set up his entire channel. It's doing better than ever. Some people would be like, man, Grant, I wish you would just do your old do-it-yourself projects. You need to get back to that. And he's like, but at the same time, we got 4 times the views and 4 times the money this month. And it was like less than half the effort.
Well, look what it's done for his family.
Good stuff.
It's still yeah, working.
And then that's the crazy thing. When he died, his wife said that he had just done his last bucket list thing, which was to go to Samoa and be there for a month. He sent me a picture there he was at church on Sunday and he's like, I'm in Samoa. This is on my bucket list. And then he came home and 2 weeks later he crashed and died. And what his wife, Janae, was saying is that he had done everything on his bucket list. Done. He always knew he would die young, but she said, the business LLC, everything is set up in a way that nothing changes. Nothing changes with the business because he had kind of worked himself out of it. So that's another thing I probably need to let that come some way. I know some of my employees have said that. They're like, you need to find somebody to go on the main channel. But I do enjoy the family channel and like making videos and impacting people's lives. I think it's such an honor that like a little kid is like, I want to come to your house and it's my wish. It's not something that we should be able to have. Like we're not anybody special, I don't think. But yeah, from a business perspective, I think it would make sense and wouldn't be that hard of a thing to find some really cool hosts, make great content that's educational and entertaining. And that's probably something that at some point we may do.
Oh, I bet that Make-A-Wish experience was very powerful to your kids.
It was something. And the video turned out, I mean, we just took the camera around and filmed some of it. And just watching it back, it's one of my favorite videos we've done in a long time. And it is a wild thing. Like sometimes you get stuck in the bubble of things that we just talked about, like having somebody take over your channel or making money on brand deals or doing these other things. And it's so nice when you get a little gut check and that says, yeah, those other things are important. You got to keep your family going and the business going. But these videos are things that people are watching. And if I keep them authentic and clean and educational and something that means something to me versus I'm just going to make some content because I know the algorithm's going to like it. Like there's real people. That kid, his parents said it, like he doesn't have any friends. He has no friends. He would sit and just watch our videos and he would act out the videos. And that's his thing. He's like, I want to go drive in their cars. I want to meet them. Cause I mean, from 18 months to 5 years old, that's his entire life. We were his best friends. And so like, there's some power behind the YouTube side of it that yes, everybody wants to be successful and make money. But at the end of the day, like I feel it makes me a little sad when there's content, not saying that our content's always like the best content for families or for kids or whatever, but I feel bad when there's content that's just kind of like mind numbing, not very great content, but the algorithm is serving it up because it's keeping people on the platform. It makes me happy when I see creators take off and do well that are actually like contributing in a good way and like making uplifting content because like my 11-year-old, she could sit and play Roblox and watch YouTube videos all day long. And like, I don't know how that's going to shape these kids 20 years from now, but it's going to make an impact.
Yeah. My prediction when Minecraft was, well, it still is huge. It's still the biggest game out there, was that the future architects are going to be, amazing. Because, they're just building and creating things. It'll be interesting to see when we have, buildings that are inspired by Minecraft or Roblox. On TubeBuddy, there are millions of creators and up and coming creators that want to be data driven and growing their audiences, optimizing their content and and then also as well as their revenues. What advice do you have to these millions of new creators that are just starting out? What advice would you give them?
Some advice I'd have is we've used TubeBuddy for years. Like probably I've had the plugin on my computer for like maybe 7 years, like seriously forever. And yeah, one of the tools that I use on there that I love is I use it for every video, every time, is the keyword section where you go in and you can search based off of keywords, and it pulls up like which ones you could use for tags in your video, which is nice. Like I do use that tool and I dump them all in there and get up to 500 keywords or whatever. But the other thing I use it for is that I can search a title, and I'll search multiple titles, and it gives you a score based off of like how good that video is, how much search volume you have, and then also like if it's good within that window, and then it gives you a rating. It's like, boom. Sometimes you'll get like a really high number in the green. It's like 97%. This is great. And then you can click on the tab that show the results that are popping up. And so one of the things I look at is I'll change my title based off of, yes, I want to get the green on the check mark. It's a good thing. But then I want to look to see out of the top 10 videos that will be suggested after somebody watches my video, do they have millions of views? Are there a couple of them that are big time videos and big time millions of views? Because that can impact your video. One of them I think of specifically is one of our first viral videos with our family channel was we went to Alaska where my wife is from, and it was in the winter, and we went to this hot springs, Chena Hot Springs, and it was like 60 below zero that day, and we're outside in our swimsuits going into these hot springs, and it's just ice everywhere. And I was typing in on TubeBuddy, I'm like, okay, what about this time? What about this title? And I found a picture of Lincoln walking through the cave, and it's just the back of him, and he looks cold, and you just see ice everywhere. And I was typing all these things like kid goes through this, blah, blah, blah. And I learned that from that tool that if I typed in child or kid, that the number was worse and the results that were suggested were worse. And so I had to, the title, there were 2 or 3 words that I plugged in that I thought would be a good title. And when I put them in, they did bad. And so I cut it down and finally found the sweet spot of the perfect title. And sure enough, that month, that thing got millions of views, and it lifted our channel. And it really was like really highly clicked through. And so some of those tools are really helpful to do. Do closed captions on your videos always. If you're a new creator, there you can do it yourself where you go through and you add them all in. Or I just use like rev.com, and I go and I pay $1.50 for every minute of your video. And that way the algorithm knows what your video is about, because the tags are there, the title's there, your description's there. But if you specifically said in your video, it's about boxing, and you said Manny Pacquiao, or I guess Jake Paul now would be a boxer, then the algorithm is going to see that in your video, because your captions are there and uploaded, that you mentioned Jake Paul. So hopefully if there's a video about Jake Paul boxing comes up, hopefully you'll be suggested, because the algorithm knows on YouTube this video really is about that because he talked about it in the video. And then the last thing I'll say is just, and MrBeast said it really well in Daryl Eve's book recently, like in the foreword about, and I've said the same thing, but in a different way. He said it much more eloquently when he wrote it out. But he's like, make 100 videos and be consistent. And he's like, your first 5 are going to be terrible. They're going to be awful. Your next 5 are going to be terrible, and you're going to get no views. But maybe once you hit 100, you're going to look at it and go, this is way better than my first video. And maybe at that point you'll have some views, but maybe you don't, but you keep going and just be consistent with it. It's too easy to just give up and like, be like, this thing, I'm not getting the views, which I guess that was going to be my last one. But this is another point along with that. I don't believe in sharing your videos with all of your family and all of your friends and going on Facebook and texting it to them and everything, especially early on when you're not getting very many views, because you want to make sure that your focus group, your comments, your likes are real. If people give you dislikes, they give you dislikes. If they give you bad comments, they give you bad comments. Yeah, you can get offended, but you can also take it and go, this is my worldwide focus group. Some of those are trash and they're just trolls, but some of them are going to be really constructive criticism. And maybe you realize this is not what my channel is supposed to be like, even though I think it's going to be that. But if you share it with your family, they're going to be positive. They're going to give you likes. They're going to give you positive comments that they love the video. And you're going to keep going with something that maybe is a terrible idea, where like all of a sudden I'm making Tesla videos. And who would have thought that I'd be the number 7 highest selling Tesla salesman basically in all of North America, just for making Tesla or YouTube videos, because I kind of followed what people liked and something I was passionate about. But you don't want to get that false sense of security from your family, or have them look at it and go, and this is a big thing in Europe, where they look at you and they go, you know what, your video, I'm embarrassed for you. You're getting no views. This is embarrassing that you're making this content. And a lot of people inside, it's a cultural thing there where they'll be like, I've got to end this. I can't do this anymore. But if you just are sharing it to the world and not telling your family, and then tell them once it grows a bit and you've got like 100,000 subscribers or something, they'll be like, wow, you're doing really well. Even if your videos are weird to them, they're still going to be like, good job on being successful. And maybe your ego and won't get in the way and you won't stop sooner. In America, we don't really care as much about that kind of feedback, but I think internationally in some countries, it can be a real deterrent to actually putting yourself out.
Yeah, some families will either
yeah.
encourage you to make the wrong content, or they'll discourage you with the right content. There's a good chance that they're not the audience. And so that's a very biased data, a pool of data to use. And,
for sure,
being that we do a lot with AI and tech, once in a while, our algorithms mess up, or they don't predict the right things. And that's something that we actually celebrate as a business, because that is feedback, and it goes into the feedback loop on how we can better optimize what we're doing. And so when you're getting those negative comments, some of them are probably brutal and are toxic, but others, it's an opportunity to make sure that you're refining what you're doing and makes it so, you can improve and then, level up and making sure you're going the right direction. Because it's a data point that's very important to be able to see how people feel about what you're doing and what you should be doing. Dan, again, thank you so much for all the time you've given us. You're one of the friends in this space that I always look forward to talking to, and I feel like every single time we chat, I become way more smarter. And so I'll probably call you on a daily basis here soon. But I really appreciate all your insight, and I believe our community is going to be really excited and is going to learn a lot from this. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this video, please subscribe, and next week we'll have another video with another creator. Thank you so much, Dan.
Hey, you're the best. Thanks, Ricky.